9 signs you've lost motivation. Let's get right into it. Number 1. You make lists but never do anything. You've got a to-do list. It's a masterpiece of intention. Maybe you bought a special notebook just for it, or downloaded a high-tech app that promises to organize your life into a symphony of productivity. You sit down and craft it perfectly. Finish project proposal, go to the gym, learn a new language. It looks official. It feels productive. And for a moment, you feel a surge of accomplishment. The problem? Your to-do list has become an object for looking at, not for doing. By the end of the day, it remains untouched, a pristine monument to your ambitions. This is a classic sign that your motivation has taken a holiday. Neuroscientifically, the act of writing down a goal can trick your brain. It releases a small amount of dopamine, the reward chemical, giving you a premature sense of achievement. Your brain thinks, great, I've logged the task. That's half the battle. But it's not. This planning fallacy is your mind's clever way of avoiding the actual effort. The list becomes a substitute for action. It's like owning a shelf full of cookbooks, but only ever ordering takeout. You have all the ingredients for success written down, but you never actually start cooking. The list isn't a tool for progress anymore. It's a form of productive feeling procrastination. It allows you to feel organized and in control without ever having to face the discomfort of actually starting the work. So, if your lists are looking more like modern art than a plan of attack, it's a clear signal your inner drive is running on empty. Number 2. You play first, work later, and then forget. The logic seems sound, doesn't it? I'll just watch one episode of this show to relax, and then I'll have the energy to work. Or maybe it's, let me just scroll through social media for 15 minutes to get it out of my system. This is the great lie of the unmotivated mind, rewarding yourself before you've even started. You treat yourself to the fun part first, promising the responsible part will follow, but it rarely does. Hours later, you find yourself in a digital rabbit hole. The work you were supposed to do is now a source of looming anxiety, and your energy is even lower than before. This happens because you're essentially short-circuiting your brain's natural reward system. Dopamine is supposed to be the prize you get after completing a challenging task, which then reinforces the behavior and motivates you to do it again. When you eat your dessert before your vegetables, you rob yourself of the very leverage you need to get things done. The immediate gratification of play makes the delayed, effort-filled gratification of work seem infinitely less appealing. Your brain, having already received its pleasure hit, sees no compelling reason to engage in the difficult task. It's like paying a contractor before they've built the house. What incentive do they have to show up tomorrow? This habit creates a vicious cycle where you constantly seek easy rewards, pushing off the work that leads to genuine, long-term satisfaction. You're not warming up for the main event. You're just canceling it and heading straight to the after party. Number 3, your alarm goes off and you hit snooze again. The alarm blares. It's the sound of a new day, a fresh start, a world of possibilities. And what is your first decision? To reject it. You hit the snooze button. 9 minutes later, you reject it again. This small, seemingly harmless act is actually a profound statement. Your very first action of the day is procrastination. You're choosing a few more moments of groggy, low-quality sleep over starting your life. This isn't just about being tired. It's a battle of wills that you lose before you're even fully conscious. Each press of the snooze button is a micro-decision that trains your brain to favor immediate comfort over your long-term intentions. You had a plan, maybe to work out, meditate, or get a head start on work, but with each 9-minute delay, you erode the willpower you'll need for the rest of the day. Think of your daily motivation like a full tank of gas. Hitting snooze is like punching a small leak in that tank before you've even left the driveway. You're starting your journey with less fuel than you intended. This initial act of avoidance sets the tone for everything that follows. When you finally do drag yourself out of bed, you're not starting from a neutral position. You're starting from a deficit. You've already taught your brain that when faced with a choice between doing the planned thing and taking the easy way out, the easy way wins. So, when a bigger challenge appears later, like that project you have been putting off, your brain is already primed to procrastinate. Your day begins with a retreat, making it that much harder to advance later on. Number 4, even tiny tasks feel like climbing a mountain. Remember when you could fire off a dozen emails without a second thought? Now, just opening your inbox feels like preparing for a marathon. The idea of replying to one single message feels utterly exhausting. This is what motivational burnout looks like at a granular level. When your internal drive is depleted, your brain's perception of effort becomes massively inflated. A task that would normally require a minuscule amount of mental energy suddenly seems to demand the strength of a superhero. Psychologists refer to this as a high, perceived effort. Your brain is essentially putting a mental tax on every action. Sending that email isn't just typing a few sentences. It's a whole ordeal involving opening the app, finding the message, formulating a response, proofreading it. It feels like a 10-step soul-crushing process. This happens because motivation acts as a lubricant for your cognitive gears. It helps you overcome the initial friction of starting a task. Without it, every action feels like grinding metal on metal. Your executive functions, the part of your brain responsible for initiating and organizing tasks, are running on fumes. This is why you might find yourself staring at a pile of dishes, a simple chore you've done thousands of times, and feeling a sense of overwhelming dread. It's not that the task itself is hard, it's that your capacity to initiate any task is critically low. When a single email feels like climbing a mountain, it's a sure sign you're not just tired, you're fundamentally unmotivated. Number 5, you keep tidying and tweaking instead of starting. Your main goal for the day is to write a report. It's important, it's urgent. So, what do? You decide your desk must be perfectly organized first. You sharpen every pencil, arrange your pens by color, and wipe down your monitor. Then, you notice your desktop icons are a mess, so you spend an hour sorting them into folders. Before you know it, 2 hours have passed, and you have the cleanest workspace in the history of humanity, but not a single word of the report is written. This is productive procrastination, the master disguise for a lack of motivation. You're doing everything except the main thing. Your brain is terrified of the big, important task because it perceives it as difficult or threatening. So, it seeks refuge in smaller, easier, low-stakes activities. These tidying and tweaking tasks give you the illusion of progress. They provide small, satisfying dopamine hits. Look, I accomplished something, without forcing you to face the actual challenge. It feels better to successfully organize your bookshelf than to stare at a blank page and fail to write a perfect first sentence. This behavior is a form of avoidance. You're not lazy, you're just strategically redirecting your energy toward tasks that have a 0% chance of failure. It's a clever defense mechanism to protect your ego from the potential struggle of the real work. But while your environment might be getting tidier, your actual goals are just gathering dust. Number 6, you're always busy, but can't say with what. Someone asks you how your day was. So busy, you sighs with an air of exhausted importance. You certainly felt busy. You were at your desk, you clicked things, you opened tabs, so many tabs, and you definitely felt the minutes ticking away. But then comes the dreadful follow-up question, either from them or your own internal monologue. Wait, what did I actually do? And you draw a complete blank. You were in motion all day, but you made no progress. This is the phenomenon of shallow work. When deep, focused work on your main priorities feels too daunting, your unmotivated brain opts for a flurry of low-impact activities. You answer emails as they arrive, jump between minor administrative tasks, and get pulled into every little distraction that comes your way. This creates the feeling of being busy without the results of being productive. Your brain is not idle, it's just spinning its wheels in the mud. It's like being a hamster on a wheel. You're running hard, but you're not going anywhere. This is a subtle trap because busyness can feel like a badge of honor in our culture. But when your motivation is gone, it's not a sign of productivity, it's a symptom of avoidance. You're filling your time with cognitive noise to drown out the silence of your inaction on the things that truly matter. At the end of the day, you have nothing to show for your efforts but a feeling of vague, unsatisfying fatigue, leaving you wondering where all that time and energy actually went. Number 7. Your goals sound like old stories. Pay attention to how you talk about your ambitions. Do you say, I'm working on my novel, or does it sound more like, I used to want to write a novel? Listen for the tense you use. When your goals are spoken about in the past tense, as things you used to dream of or once planned to do, it's a massive red flag. It indicates a psychological shift. The goal is no longer an active pursuit in your present reality. It has been relegated to a nostalgic memory, a story you tell about a past version of yourself who was, presumably, more hopeful and driven. This isn't just a matter of semantics, it's a cognitive distancing mechanism. By framing your goal as a thing of the past, you relieve yourself of the pressure to act on it now. This linguistic shift signals that you've subconsciously accepted defeat or, at the very least, an indefinite hiatus. The dream feels so far away that it's easier to admire it from a distance than to take the small, difficult steps to move toward it. An active goal is a living, breathing part of your daily thoughts. What am I doing today to get closer? A dead goal is a dusty photograph on the mantelpiece. Ah, yes, I remember when I was passionate about that. When your aspirations start sounding less like a work in progress and more like a chapter from your biography, it's a clear sign that the motivational fire that once fueled them has dwindled to a flicker. Number 8. You live just for weekends or holidays. Monday morning arrives, and you're already mentally calculating the hours until 5 p.m. on Friday. Your entire work week is framed as an obstacle, a dreary stretch of time to be endured, not engaged with. All your joy, planning, and mental energy are focused on the escape, the weekend, the upcoming vacation, the public holiday. This is the get-through-it mentality, and it's a powerful indicator that you've lost motivation in your daily life. When you're driven and engaged, your weekdays hold meaning and opportunity. You might look forward to the weekend for rest, but you don't live for it. You find satisfaction and purpose in the process, not just in the breaks from it. When all your happiness is backloaded into periods of escape, it means you're running from something, not towards something. Your baseline state is one of endurance, and joy is a temporary reprieve. This is incredibly draining because it splits your life into two parts, the long, gray, mandatory part and the short, colorful, optional part. Your motivation can't survive in an environment where 70% of your time is considered a write-off. You're not building momentum during the week. You're just trying to survive until you can hit the eject button. If your camera roll is filled with vacation pics and your daydreams are all about your next getaway, it might be time to ask what you're trying so hard to escape from. Number 9. You feel drained even without doing much. You get to the end of the day, collapse onto the couch, and feel a bone-deep exhaustion. It's the kind of tired you'd expect after running a half marathon or completing a massive, mentally taxing project. But when you look back at your day, you realize you didn't really do much. You answered a few emails, attended a meeting where you zoned out, and spent a lot of time just staring into the middle distance. This is the great paradox of low motivation. Inaction is often more exhausting than action. When you're not motivated, your mind exists in a state of constant, low-grade conflict. One part of your brain knows what you should be doing, while the other part is actively resisting it. This internal tug-of-war consumes an enormous amount of mental energy. It's called ego depletion, a theory suggesting that your self-control and willpower are finite resources. Every time you think about the task you're avoiding, feel guilty about it, and then actively choose to do something else, you're making a withdrawal from that energy reserve. The mental effort required to procrastinate, to manage the guilt, anxiety, and self-criticism is often far greater than the effort required to simply do the task. It's like keeping a car perfectly still by flooring the accelerator and the brake at the same time. You're burning a massive amount of fuel, but the car goes nowhere. This strange, pointless exhaustion is your brain telling you it's tired, not from hard work, but from the hard work of avoiding hard work. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.